Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, the first Lexington School Board election. We'll get into the issues candidates are talking about.
And later, W&L parents paid far higher rates for hotel rooms last weekend.
But you don't get that much choice because you get whatever is available.
Then our own Cammie Knott tells us warmer days are ahead. After that, pandas arrive to Washington, D.C.'s National Zoo. All that and more coming up right now on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Valentina Nunez.
And I'm Mackenzie Kane. It's less than 3 weeks until Election Day, and it's crunch time for the presidential campaigns, who are looking for new ways to sway voters. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are sparring over fitness for the office with just a little time to move the needle. CNN's Karen Kaifa has the latest from Washington.
Vice President Kamala Harris sharpening her attacks on former President Donald Trump's capacity for another term in the White House.
Donald Trump is increasingly unstable and unhinged.
As Democrats grow more fretful about the state of the race, which most national polls see as deadlocked, Harris, in the battleground state of Pennsylvania Monday night, stepped up the urgency in her message, warning of the extremism of a second Trump term.
He's talking about that he considers anyone who doesn't support him or who will not bend to his will an enemy of our country.
Trump was also in Pennsylvania for a town hall Monday night where he stayed on stage and swayed to music after rapping questions.
Play YMCA. Go ahead. Let's go. Nice and loud.
During the event, Trump took his own aim at Harris's capacity for the job.
Well, we have to beat her. Look, we
do.
have to beat her. She's not for this job. Everybody knows it.
Harris has also chided Trump in recent days for not releasing medical records after releasing a letter from her physician Saturday, tying it to a lack of transparency on Trump's part.
Are they afraid that people will see that he is too weak and unstable?
Trump has responded multiple times on his social media platform Truth Social, including calling on Monday for Harris to take a cognitive test and falsely claiming he's released more medical records than any president in history. Trump last released a letter from his doctor in November 2023, but it did not include the types of medical tests Trump took or the results. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
The Lexington City School Board's first ever election is in less than 3 weeks. As Juliana Stevenson reports, 4 candidates are running for 3 open positions.
Previously, Lexington School Board members were appointed by the City Council. This year, citizens will vote for the 3 open school board positions. 4 candidates are running, including the current school board chair, Tammy Dunn.
I was a little hesitant because I'm really not a politician, but I felt like I wanted to continue being a part of the school board to help advocate and be a voice for our children.
Dunn wants to continue focusing on students' learning and mental health.
Meeting the kids where they are is very important, and I think we do a great job with that.
Another school board candidate, Casey Potter, wants to focus on the transition from the city's middle school to the county's high school.
And then they're starting Rockbridge County High School as a freshman in PE class, 2 weeks later, and they don't even have an email address.
Potter is also Rockbridge County High School's PTA president. She hopes to create a liaison between the 2 school systems.
I'm sorry that it's taken this long for somebody to say, hey, that's not right. You should have an identity.
After repeated attempts, the Rockbridge Report was unable to arrange an interview with school board candidate Megan Ferguson. But at the September 18th School Board Candidate Forum, Ferguson agreed that the transition to high school needs improvement. She wants to create a position for a Lexington City resident to serve on the county school board.
Our current situation is taxation without representation. We cannot have a true partnership without a seat at the table.
School board candidate Katie Macy declined the Rockbridge Report's invitation to interview. Macy is a licensed therapist and is running for the school board to advocate for students' mental health. She also wants to increase parent engagement.
I'm a parent that will go in and volunteer. I will have lunch. Not all parents know that they can be that involved, and I think it's a key piece to supporting our staff.
Lexington City residents can vote for school board on November 5th. Early voting is available for the next few weeks at City Hall.
The leader of Hamas is dead. Israel says its forces killed Yahya Sinwar, the architect of the October 7th attacks. Israeli soldiers encountered 3 terrorists during a routine operation in Gaza and engaged them. Only after the battle did they find a body resembling Sinwar's. Israel analyzed the corpse and then confirmed that the DNA did indeed match the Hamas leader. The death comes 2 days after Israel ordered a ban on at least 7 medical non-governmental organizations from entering Gaza.
The Rockbridge Area Health Center received a $600,000 grant to expand its mental health and substance abuse treatment programs. RAHC Development Director Patricia Cook says the funding will go to hiring more mental health professionals, community outreach, and improved telehealth services. The 2-year grant begins in 2026. Read Liz Trubeck's story on rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Washington and Lee families are feeling the effects of Parents and Family Weekend, or at least their pocketbooks are. Hotel prices soared when families came to Lexington earlier this month for the special events, and rooms are already selling for next year. The Rockbridge Report's Kate Keeley is live on Main Street. Kate, how much money are we talking about here?
Some parents paid double or even triple the typical room rates that weekend. One parent told me the trick is to book as far in advance as possible.
Parents and Family Weekend brought more than 1,000 visitors to Lexington, and hotels in the city and county were filled. John Gomes, the general manager of the George's Hotel, says this was one of the busiest Parents' Weekends in recent years. But parents complain that hotels are charging too much for rooms.
I understand that the community makes a lot of money off this weekend, but
room rates shot up for both local hotels and chains. The New True by Hilton charged over $500 per room on October 4th and 5th. This is $200 to $400 more than most other nights this month. Rooms at the Super 8 were $251 a night, at least double what guests would pay during the rest of the month. The Georges charge guests $600 and above. This increase in prices makes some parents question if it's worth it to visit for the weekend.
you know, to come see my child, I definitely want to see her, but it's a lot of money.
The events for the weekend kicked off on October 3rd, but many families had their hotel rooms booked months in advance. Parents say if you don't book early, you won't be able to find an affordable room.
Except for the very first year, we really booked in advance. So in general, we get a reasonable price, but you don't get that much choice because you get whatever is available.
Gomes says hotels are more expensive for special events like Parents' Weekend because they're the main source of revenue for these businesses.
That's the bulk of, the high revenue generation and activities.
Otherwise, he says, it's a challenge to sell out.
The George's is already sold out for the next Parents' Weekend, more than a year away. Other hotels open for booking next month. Live from Main Street for the Rockbridge Report, I'm Kate Keeley.
Thank you, Kate. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, the swimming pool in Buena Vista's Glenmorey Park will get some much-needed renovations.
It got to the point where we was losing more water than we was putting in it in a day.
And a home in Northern Virginia exploded after contractors hit a gas line. All that and more coming up on the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. The Glenmorey Park pool renovations are underway, but the city is facing more work than anticipated. This month, Buena Vista City Council allocated an extra $100,000 to complete the project. Channing Schilling reports.
Since its construction in the 1970s, the Glenmorey Park pool has been a hotspot for Rockbridge residents in the summer. Corey Henson, Buena Vista's Director of Public Works, grew up swimming and playing in the park. 50 years later, Henson is working with the city to renovate the pool.
Over time, we noticed that we was losing water through the skimmers. It got to the point where we was losing more water than we was putting in it in a day.
Pool renovations were originally set to cost the city $650,000. But once construction was underway, it was clear that more funds were needed to solve the pool's problems.
You know, sometimes when you get into construction projects, especially renovation projects, until you start peeling back some of those layers, you don't know what's behind the wall, what's behind that, that concrete. And then once you figure it out, it's like, holy cow, this is a lot worse than we initially anticipated.
This month, the City Council allocated an extra $100,000 from leftover ARPA funds, the pandemic stimulus bill, to help with the project. Tyree said the additional money will help with the necessary renovations and offer a chance to add new amenities, like a pool cover.
All winter, all the elements, leaves, frogs, whatever you can imagine comes into the pool. So in the spring, it takes us about 2.5, 3 weeks to get the pool ready for it to be open. With the cover, it's going to save us so much time moving forward.
Tyree said they're also building ramps and a wheelchair lift to improve accessibility for disabled residents.
We wanted to make sure we did an inclusive repair job that would bring it sort of into the new era as well.
Ricky Smith, the supervisor of the project, says the pool will be finished in November.
It's just important for the community, mainly the kids.
The pool cover will be installed this November. With renovations and additions, the Glenmorey Pool will continue to cool off residents in the summers ahead. For the Rockbridge Report, this is Channing Schilling.
Lexington City Council set aside $250,000 to fund a proposed home renovation plan for low-income residents. The program could also help elderly residents stay independent at home instead of moving to assisted living facilities. Read Bella Timmerding's story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
The Rockbridge Area Relief Association partnered with the town of Goshen to open a food pantry in the newly renovated community center. The need for food has increased in the town of Goshen, where about 21% of residents live below the federal poverty level. Rah Goshen is located on Maury River Road, walking distance for most of the town's affected residents. Along with canned goods, the pantry offers fresh produce and meat. The store is open from 2 to 4 p.m. every Thursday. Read Alejandro Pacheco's story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
A powerful explosion leveled a home in Haymarket in Northern Virginia yesterday. The explosion happened shortly after contractors hit an underground gas line. Two couples with very young children lived in the home and were immediately told to evacuate. The explosion damaged both neighboring homes. Contractors say it will be days until gas service is restored to the neighborhood. The fire department says thankfully no one was injured, but several family pets died in the explosion. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, Americans across Hurricane Helene's impact zone face fuel shortages.
We have now dispensed, just from the state, over 2.5 million gallons of gas free to the people of Florida.
This is Cami Knott with the Rockbridge Report. It's been a very chilly couple of days here in Lexington. Find out if there's any hope for warmer days ahead. Tune in for more details from my weather forecast.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. The Small Business Administration's disaster loan program is out of money. Fuel in some areas of Florida is in short supply, and IV fluid is only available to hospitals in limited quantities. Officials say these are some of the U.S. supply issues stemming from Hurricanes Helene and Milton. CNN's Amy Kiley has details.
After not one, but two recent hurricanes, the U.S. faces some shortages. The Biden administration is invoking the Defense Production Act because the nation's IV fluid supply is critically low. Its biggest producer is in hurricane-ravaged North Carolina. In Florida, officials say they're working with ports to restore the fuel supply.
We have now dispensed, just from the state, over 2.5 million gallons of gas free to the people of Florida.
Meanwhile, the Small Business Administration's disaster loan program is out of money. Officials say that's after about 49,000 recent applications. People can still apply, and Congress can approve more funds after its recess. FEMA says it has enough money for now, but
the ongoing spread of misinformation about operations is not okay. It has got to stop.
The agency says false rumors are making it harder to get relief funds to hurricane survivors.
We don't know how many people are not going to apply for FEMA because they have heard misinformation about FEMA taking their property or other wild accusations that are out there.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
You know, Mackenzie, Cami, I've been enjoying the sun recently, but I do have to say it's getting quite chilly.
I hear you, Valentina. I'm not sure I'm mentally prepared for winter just yet. Cami, please tell me there's still some sunshine on the horizon.
You are definitely in luck, Mackenzie. We do have some warmer days left in October. Let's get into the details as I take you into our live shot of Lexington Main Street. And now let's dive deeper into the current conditions.
The high today is 61 degrees with a low of 32 degrees, freezing today. Barometric pressure sitting at 30 and 27/100 inches of mercury. The wind speed today was 12 miles per hour, making it feel a little bit more chilly than it actually is. Humidity sitting at 40% as well. Let's take a look at this beautiful radar. Oh my goodness, it makes my heart so happy to say the skies are completely clear. Now let's take a deeper look in our region right now. From Charlottesville to Roanoke, nothing but sunny skies, as I said. Lexington and Buena Vista are sitting at 58 degrees right now. Staunton, a little bit more chilly at 56 degrees. Charlottesville, it's at 60. Lynchburg also at 60. And as we move west, Covington is a little bit more chilly, sitting at 53 degrees right now, and Roanoke is also at 60. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Beautiful sunny days for the next 5 days. Tomorrow's high is at 68 and a low of 35, while Saturday's high is at 70 and a low of 37. Now, in our beginning of our week is where we really start to see it pick up again. High of 74 and low of 37 on Sunday, and Monday seems to be my personal favorite with a high of 77, beautiful day with a low of 42. And very similar temperatures on Tuesday with a high of 76 and a low of 45. Back to you, Valentina and Mackenzie.
And later, 2 giant pandas arrive at the National Zoo. Stay with us here at the Rockbridge Report. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. You know, Mackenzie, Caroline, there just seems to be so many exciting things happening on campus recently, especially in general's athletics. I can't seem to keep up.
I'll say, Valentina, we had a quadruple header last night. Women's soccer, men's soccer, field hockey, volleyball. I don't know if I can keep up with it either, but if anyone can, I think it's you, Caroline.
That's right, Mackenzie. There's a lot to catch up on in general sports. But first, we have got a more serious story. Authorities are investigating a homophobic death threat that was sent to the wife of WNBA star Breonna Stewart. The New York Liberty Star said the message came in an email on Sunday after Game 1 of the WNBA Finals. Stewart said she's using her platform to raise awareness about the rise in hateful rhetoric directed at WNBA players. She said she believes the WNBA is the most inclusive in all of the professional sports and there is no room for hate. A WNBA spokesperson said the league is aware of the incident and is working with law enforcement.
But thank you guys. Thanks for all
In local sports,
We'll see you soon.
In local sports, W&L women's soccer team beat Bridgewater College 2-0 in a home game last night. It's the 10th win in a row for the Generals. Our own Mackenzie Kane has the story.
We could have thought about.
Good evening, Rockbridge. I'm here at Washington and Lee's Watt Field, where the Generals women's soccer team has extended its winning streak with a victory over Bridgewater College. And joining me here on field is head coach Tiffany Pins. Now, coach, with your only loss being in the season opener, how does it feel stretching this winning streak out to 10 games?
Well, we've really just been focusing on getting better each game. So the fact that each game has presented different challenges and opportunities and the team has stepped up and responded to that, that's the thing I'm most proud of right now. Of course, we love the results, but we have really tried to keep our focus on just getting better each day so that we can be at our best in a couple weeks here.
Now, merely hours before this game kicked off, the NCAA released its new rankings for Division III women's soccer, bringing the Generals up from 13 to 6. How does that reflect what you've seen so far with these players?
Well, the new ranking system is interesting. It's a whole new thing called MPI, so it's a lot of based on numbers and things like that. And so it is a testament to getting results in September against some very good opponents. And we played some tough teams, and we will continue to play tough teams. So it's nice, but as we tell the team, what really matters is where we're ranked at the end. And we have a long ways to go. Lots of tough games ahead of us.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of busy weekend coming up ahead, back-to-back games, Saturday, Sunday, including number 3 ranked Christopher Newport. What are you telling your players to prepare?
Well, number one, we have a good conference opponent that we need to take care of first on Saturday. And then on Sunday, this is the challenge we need right now. And they're an outstanding team. They're playing really well. They're on an unbeaten streak of a lot of sorts. But that's the next look for us at this point in the season is to someone to really challenge us.
Well, Coach, I appreciate your time, and I wish you the best of luck going forward this weekend. And signing off with the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane.
Some more good news coming out of W&L Athletics. Men's golf is now ranked number 1 in the country in Division III. And women's field hockey shut out Sweetbriar 7-0. The Generals will travel to play Lynchburg on Saturday. while volleyball dropped their second straight match of the season, 3-1 against Christopher Newport last night. They'll look to clinch a win this Friday against Randolph College. VMI men's soccer scored 10 goals on Mary Baldwin last night, the most goals in 45 years. They are set to play Furman in South Carolina on Saturday. VMI men's football fell to Wofford 31-16 in a close contest last Saturday. They'll host the Citadel this Saturday for Parents Weekend. SVU men's soccer claimed their second consecutive win, beating Greensboro College 3-1 last night. The Knights will face William Peace this Saturday. While men's football fell to Belhaven University in a conference matchup 38-17. They play at Methodist this Saturday. Let's look into our local high school. Rockbridge County High School boys football clinched a win last weekend over Harrisonburg 28-17. They'll face off against Spotswood at 7 o'clock on Friday. Girls volleyball came away with a win Tuesday, beating William Monroe 3-1. They'll play Rocktown High School tonight. Let's look at Perry McClure High School. Football lost to Narrows High School 35-13 last week. They'll face off against Craig County this Friday. While girls volleyball won their matchup against Craig County Monday 3-0. Both teams will face off again next week. That's all I have for sports. Back to you, Mackenzie and Valentina.
Thank you, Caroline, for that update. 2 giant pandas arrived in our nation's capital yesterday, marking the much-awaited return of the beloved bears from China to Washington's National Zoo. CNN's Michael Yoshida joins us with more on what this panda diplomacy means for U.S.-China relations.
Pandamania is back in Washington, D.C. 2 3-year-old giant pandas completing their journey from southwest China to the American capital.
Pandas are one of China's most powerful tools in their projection of soft power.
Tuesday's touchdown of the Panda Express marking a rare bright spot between the U.S. and China. Tensions over trade, technology, geopolitics, and more leading to fraught relations.
China is the biggest threat confronting this country.
And I will make sure that America, not China, wins the competition for the 21st century.
Enter Bao Li and Qing Bao and panda diplomacy.
Even though there's a pretense on both sides that this is just about conservation, ultimately the underlying subtext is, only China in the whole world has pandas. And so if the relationship is good, China will share their pandas with us.
Professor Judith Shapiro says pandas have long been used by China to project soft power, or an image of itself on the international stage that is favorable and can build goodwill. U.S. President Richard Nixon's ice-breaking trip in the 1970s to communist China during the Cold War eventually led to pandas arriving in D.C. Now, decades later, the bear's return could be the beginning of a new chapter in the rival superpowers relationship.
Here in Washington, D.C., pandas have become almost a symbol of the city. This is clearly a very smart move on the part of the Chinese to bring these pandas back.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.
Join us again next Thursday for another edition of the Rockbridge Report. And you can catch the latest news on rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.